Doesn't it feel awesome to laugh? Isn't that amazing? There's nothing more sweet than a baby's laugh, but it feels good to laugh, doesn't it? It feels really great to laugh. And so, for the next few minutes, I'm going to be talking to you about laughter. I know that's kind of maybe a crazy topic for a session in a women's conference, but a few weeks ago, I was going a whole different direction, and it was getting really serious, and I thought, this is just depressing. There's nothing about that that's happy at 9:30 on a Friday morning. And I knew it wasn't like totally what I was supposed to be speaking on. I was talking to Galen, and we just started talking about laughing and how good it feels to be happy, and what's something you do when you're happy, you laugh. And it's really cool. So I'm going to just sit a little bit, and because you guys are sitting down. I like what Holly said last night, or unless if I stand, you want to stand too, then we can all stand together. So are you hot too? See, I was hot too. I always ask everybody around me, is anybody else hot? Because I always think it's a hot flash. But I did tell them we were all hot. And so if you're not 50, then just put a sweater on, because we're going with the 50 crowd. We're turning the air on. Thank you. I said freezing, like chill bumps, freezing. That's what I want to feel. Okay, laughter. And hang on, I hope they're not taping anything. I feel like does this like go up and down? Or is this just down? Okay, I'll just sit really low. Okay, laughter. The definition of laughter, in case you didn't know, is it's an outward sign or an expression of joy, delight, and cheerfulness. I love to laugh, but when you're going through a lot of hard times in your life, the first thing to go is the laughter. We get so serious. We forget to laugh. We think that laughing is disrespectful if we lost a loved one, or we think laughing, I'm in no place to be laughing. I'm to be serious because this is a big situation I'm going through. And just, I want to preface this by saying, laughing doesn't mean you're denying that there's a problem. Laughing doesn't mean that you're acting like nothing happened in your life. But laughing, we're going to find, is really biblical. And we're going to talk about laughing. It's more contagious than a sneeze or a cough or a sniffle. If one person starts to laugh, we start laughing. The little baby started to laugh, and we're all just like, and women, we love to laugh. We're the loudest laughers in movies. We're like more uninhibited, I think, with laughter than men, because it's just, I think sometimes for women, if you're moms too, and then you're married and you work a couple jobs, and we have our lives can be really stressful. I think for a lot of times women, it's either laugh or cry. And so we just choose most of the time to laugh. Studies show that people that laugh on a regular basis, you're just going to love this, they're healthier, they live longer, they have better relationships, and they make better decisions. I love that, because we tend to lose our laughter first. Like I mentioned, our lives are weighed down. We have so much going on. We have intense things, serious things. And I know that. I talked about it last night. I just bet if we had a few hours, we could have every single person come across the stage and talk about what you've gone through this year or right now today on your way here and what you're dealing with. And so we all go through so many things. When Galen and I are down and out, and I know y'all think that doesn't happen. It's funny to me that people think that we have a perfect life. I really want to laugh out loud. LOL, LOL, all caps, LOL. We are you. That's what, Holly mentioned. We're just you, except that we stand on a stage sometimes. It's the very same thing. We go through the same things you go through, and we get depressed, and we get down, and we even fight. And but when we're really down and out, the thing we can do to make us happy and laugh is we call Dustin and Mandy, we ask for Asher. Asher is our 5-year-old grandson, and Dustin and Mandy got married a few years ago, but he's been in our life since he was 1. So we're the only, we're his KK and Pop, his grandparents, and he just makes us laugh. He's naughty too, but you can hardly get mad at him because he's so precious. He's so funny. But a few years ago, 2 years ago, I think, right after they got married, they wanted to take a family picture. We were in Gulf Shores, Alabama. Some of you have seen this picture on social media, and we didn't even know it existed till the proofs came back. And this child, and I hope it's here. I have a picture I want to show you. That's not that one. Isn't that great? Mandy's face. She's all there already. And all of a sudden, and he's just isn't that awful? He just grabs it. And she just has this look. And we've said we were going to send it into that family picture show or whatever. I need somebody in our name. It's not your money, it's our money. But if you send it somewhere for us, we really could use the 10,000 or whatever you get. I know Mandy could. But to have to suffer that, and there they are. And that should have been our clue of the ride we were in with Asher. That should have been the first clue. You can take it down. We don't have to look at that all the day. But I did ask her opinion. But he's just like that. Everything he does to Galen and I, because we're the grandparents, we think the bad stuff's funny. We laugh at everything. Even when he's totally disobeying, like having a fit, we're like, that's so cute. That's precious. We think everything's funny, but he entertains us. His name means happy. Asher means happy. And I will tell you, we have 5 grandchildren now, and they're all so special. But that little boy brought a slice of happiness to us in our lives when we needed it the most. He brought that joy into our lives, and I'm telling you, you've got people like that in your life. And that's what we're going to talk about, what it takes for us to laugh again. And this is a scripturally based sermon. So I didn't just look it up in the Reader's Digest, although it's titled, Laughter is the Best Medicine. Have you ever read that in Reader's Digest? But that's not what this is. Okay, Proverbs 17:22 says, a merry heart does good like a medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bones. And so that's basically what we're going to talk about today. A merry heart does good like a medicine. So then, laughter is medicine for you. It's like taking doses of medicine, and it's more powerful than any drug. And I love this. There's no negative side effects. So when you get a new medicine or you're watching TV and the new medicine comes on, there's some interesting medicines that come on during family time. Just going to say. Football. Really? We're going to talk about that with all the kids watching. And after 4 hours, go to the hospital. I'm like, 4 hours, wife, run. That's not on my notes. Okay, anyway, the medicine, they tell you, they list like 25 to 50 side effects from it. I'm like, maybe I'll just have the infection. Maybe I'll just have the disease rather than it scares me, the side effects. But guess what? Laughter doesn't have any side effects. Laughter is the one medicine you can take that the only thing it's going to do is bring joy. It's an outward display of joy. But guess what? I learned this too in my study, that even fake laughing is good for you. Like now. When somebody tells a bad joke, you go, if you do that for long enough, it's still good for you. So I think fake laughing, we're going to do that too. These are some really cool facts that I found in researching about laughter. I found some great things, and here are a few. Studies show, now that can mean anything, but I trust this because everywhere I researched and Googled, every single site had these things listed. So if you find it on Google, it's all the truth, right? So I feel like that's true. Studies show that laughter, 1, relaxes the whole body. Did you know that? It relieves physical tension and stress. If you have a really good belly laugh, it can relax you for up to 45 minutes. Okay, so when you go out with friends or you have that person in your life that just makes you laugh and you've had dinner with them or you're out and you've laughed so hard that you're just exhausted when you're finished being with them, you're just totally worn out. That's what this means. There's a few people in our life, and one of them is our children's pastor. Adam walks in a staff meeting and we just laugh the whole time. His mama's here, so I'll talk about him in front of her, but he's so funny. He's naturally funny. He draws people to him. That's why kids love him. That's why your kids love Pastor Adam, because he's funny. They're drawn to that humor. That humor is the common denominator for people, and they're drawn to that because you feel good when you leave their presence. And opposite of being with a really cantankerous person or a friend that's just down and out and gripey all the time, you're like, you want to run from them. If you see me running from you in the atrium of the church, get a hint. Okay, I'm not laughing. So, studies say it relaxes your whole body. So we're going to feel so good when this is over. We're going to want to eat. I'm excited about it. Number 2, it boosts the immune system. This is awesome. Laughter decreases stress hormones. Anybody have a stress hormone going on in their life? I do. Just ask the people that work around me. It decreases stress hormones, and it increases immune cells and infection-fighting antibodies. That's what laughter does. It increases immune cells and infection-fighting antibodies. Even at hospitals, you know this. They have clowns come for children. They have comedians come in hospital wards now to just be there for really sick patients because they know the power of laughter, what it can do for you, not just emotionally, but physically. So it boosts your immune system. Laughter also triggers the release of endorphins. Yeah, and chocolate. But anyway, laughter doesn't make you gain weight, but it's the body's natural feel-good chemical. It's the body's natural. I mean, there's medications, and I'm not against them for sure. And if you need to, I have nothing to say. But it's great that something we already have inside of us, laughter, can release those endorphins. That it's our body's natural feel-good chemical, and it gives us a sense of well-being. Laughter it does so many good things. So, relaxes your whole body, boosts the immune system, triggers the release of endorphins. I love this one. I just feel so justified. It boosts metabolism. So, if you laugh really good 15 minutes a day, you burn an extra almost 300 calories. I mean, that's a donut. Let's just laugh. Oh, God, what a cupcake. See? You just laugh really good on your way to the cupcake place. That's what I'm thinking. Or you laugh really good. I love to bake. I turned out I was a horrible cook when I got married. I didn't know how to even make iced tea. But I am a great cook now. I'm a great cook, and I'm an even better baker. I've gotten good at it. And that's why we look the way we do. But anyway, Galen and I say that all the time. Oh, can I just interject a story? It just came to me. Honey, are you in here? He's going to want to run. This is good. About metabolism has nothing to do with the Bible. But a month or so ago, before we were thinking about the conferences and what you're going to look like in your clothes on the stage, and the cameras make you look bigger. And we're always on a diet. You know, when you're over 40, you're almost always on a diet. It's just what you do as a woman. When menopause starts happening, you just diet all the time. Well, this is a true story. So we're married, my husband and I. And so one day, he was shaving, and I was getting in the shower. I know, it's a horrible mental picture, but I was naked. We have to get in the shower. And so I'm standing there, and I'm not thinking about it. When you've been married 33 years, you're like, he probably thinks I look better than I do. So I'm thinking that he thinks I still look like I did when I was 19 when we got married. So he's right there shaving. There's big mirrors all over our bathroom. You've heard me say when I get out of the shower, I go on the floor and crawl to your clothes so you don't see yourself. But anyway, so I'm getting in the shower, and he's sitting there shaving. He turns around. I'm thinking. And he turns around and he says, "We are going to have to start a diet as soon as we get back from Dallas." Staring at my naked body. And he said, "Oh, I did not mean it that way." What other way? Tell me another way that could be meant. He wasn't looking at himself. He had all his clothes on. And I said, "Apples for apples, strip down." I did say that. This is not a made-up story. Okay. That's so awesome. I thought about that. So anyway, I figured instead of exercising or dieting, I would just laugh more. And we would boost our metabolism that way. It really does work. Also, laughter protects your heart. It improves function of blood vessels, and it increases blood flow. Laughter really is good for your blood vessels. It increases blood circulation and flow around your heart. It's a great thing. Laughter really does help physiologically. And another thing, it dissolves distressing emotions. Laughter, when you're laughing, I love this, and I thought, I don't believe it, but I'm just telling that story, so I'm telling the story and I'm laughing. I didn't think about anything bad going on in my life. Laughter, you can't feel anxious or angry or sad. I mean, I might have felt angry right then, but you can't feel anxious, really angry or sad when you're laughing. Everything, you just stop. It's in the moment. You're laughing, and so all of the worries that you had or have are gone when you're laughing, and it distracts. Laughter is a great distractor. That's why we hire Asher, and it does cost us. But that's why we hire Asher to come to our house to laugh, and it's important, if you've read Galen's book, Changing Church, and if you haven't, this is a really shameless plug for it, but it's a great book. It really is a good book. It tells the story of this amazing church and the story of the people that make up this awesome church. And it's more than that. It's about life's disappointments and overcoming disappointment and overcoming, when somebody says you can't and God says you can, and what God says versus what people say. But it's a great book, and it's not. You don't have to be a pastor to read it. Actually, it'd be better if you weren't a pastor and read it, because you could be someone's worst nightmare in the church. I don't know. You may need to read it. Anyway, but in his book, you know what's interesting? There's a story he tells about a real time we went through when this church was called First Family Church, and we were on Montgomery in Wyoming. We went through a really difficult time, and a lot of people left our church. About 400 people left our church, and a lot of our best friends that we thought were best friends, and leadership, and we were kind of left. We had some great people that stayed with us, but we lost a lot of teachers and people and finances. When people go, the first thing they take is their money because they're mad. And so, and I'm thinking, I must say this, I don't know how you're ever mad at Galen, except me. He's never told you to go on a diet. So I don't know how anybody could ever be mad at him but me, but he's so easy. He's such a kind person, so merciful. I'm like, how are you mad at him? Me? Okay, maybe. But him, no way. But they were mad at him. So they left the church. And anyway, I saw him, and that's in a nutshell. I mean, it's chapters of walking through some of the situations, but I've never seen such a broken, sad, hurt person as my husband, who is always even keel, his temperament. And, we realized it had been about a year after that happened, and all of a sudden one night, we were somewhere, and the boys were young, Ben, and they were with us, and he started laughing, and it dawned on us, he had not laughed in over a year. He had not laughed in over a year. The first thing when Satan robbed him of his joy, it took his laughter. And that's why laughter is so important. When you're laughing, it distracts you from what's going on. It's super important to laugh again. And when his laugh came back, then the whole healing started because he could laugh again. He started laughing, and the healing started because we've all gone through something. You may have gone through that with a spouse or with family or a child, but you've gone through a real hurtful situation. And like I said, laughing doesn't mean that it never happened. Laughing doesn't mean you're in denial. I mean, I guess it could, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that kind of laughter where you just let it go and you learn to find that joy that's down inside of you because you're a child of God. No matter what your heartache may be, laughing helps you forget it, even for just a few seconds. Whatever your heartache may be, that laughter helps you forget it, even if it's just a few seconds. Isn't that awesome, what laughter can do for you? Another thing that laughter helps in your life is it helps you relax and recharge. It reduces stress and increases energy. If you go to Copper Pointe, you've heard us talk about, we have family dinners on Monday night. It's our really only way to see, our sons are all married now, and 2 of the 3 have families, and even Brandon and Delaney have a little dog named Pistol Pete, who's crazy. He walked right in my house last week and hiked his leg and peed on my candles. Because they were going to have a perfect dog. Because our dogs are bad. And Brandon and Delaney were going to have a perfect dog, and he wasn't going to do stuff like that. He's going to obey. And I love them, but they're going to have a perfect child too, they said. Their baby's not going to pitch a fit. Isn't that great? Don't you love that? I love them, but I can't wait. We're all dying for the day when Brandon's baby's 2. We're so excited. And peas on their candlestick. Okay. But anyway, Pistol's great. But they all have kids and dogs, and we're all together. It's about 6 dogs and a bunch of kids and a bunch of people. But you know why we do it? It's to reconnect. We love it, but it's to recharge our family battery. It's to recharge that sense of family. We get together once a week, and we protect it it's 95% of the time we're together. And we do that because we want to recharge as a family. We want our group to come together. We laugh a lot. You can take it to the bank. We're going to laugh a lot. The conversations, they're more tame now than they used to be because there's women, girls there. I was the only one, and they don't think a mom's a woman or something when you're raising 3 boys. But the laughter and the fun that happens over a family table, and I encourage you that, if you don't have family, then you hook up with someone that can be a surrogate family for you. If you're a single mom, you make this happen for your kids. If you have sisters, you make this happen. Get your family together. Get around a table, and not a fast food table or a restaurant table. You need to get around the table in your home as much as you can, and at least once a week. And even if you bring takeout, if you don't have time to cook, but you get there, you sit there, that's where the best conversations happen. That's where the best healing happens. It's where the best bonding happens. It's where you recharge. And that's why I think that family dinners are so important. But girlfriends, the same thing. Having lunch or coffee with a girlfriend that builds you up, the one that lifts you up. And I've got a circle of very few friends that, on purpose, because I really protect myself from negative people. I stay around positive people. I will call the people. I I text. I have probably 5 people that am I going through a crisis, I'll text, and there's a number 1 and 2 on there. But I know they're never going to say, oh, that's awful. I know, you should be really sad. They start throwing scripture back at me, and they help me, and that's what we want to do. So I have friends that help me relax and recharge because they make me laugh. We cry together, we laugh together. My family makes me laugh. I love vacations, and I think that's a time, anytime you can get away, like this conference where I had to walk into my house last night too, and the laundry is still on the floor where I thought maybe he would put it in the laundry room when I left, and he didn't. So you go home and you're here and you're all excited, and you go home and it's still your house. But anyway, it kind of feels like it's vacation when you're here and you're away from everything. That's what's important with you, with your girlfriends, with your family, is to get a little time away, even if it's a staycation or you're home, but to spend that time where you're recharging and let laughter happen. We've talked a lot. Galen has preached it. Dustin has said it when he's talked about our family dinners, and I'm going to get off of this in just a second, but we don't allow the table to be a place where we discipline. We never did with the boys. It wasn't the place to talk about grades or to talk about bad behavior or to talk about what they'd done and how they got in trouble at school or anything that bad happened. It's not the bad place. And it's a little different as we have all become adults now, but we still really try to make the table the place where it's good, fond, and happy memories. And I can't stress that enough. So if you need to get onto your child, don't do it at dinner, because we all have so many triggers that things will take us back there. You don't want the family dinner table to be a place they're afraid to come to. You don't want it to be a place that they think, that makes me sad. You want it to be the place, so you don't tell bad news at the table. Something bad happened in our family. You don't save the table for something wonderful. Okay, so laughing helps you relax and recharge. And it also shifts perspective. Laughing creates psychological distance too, I guess, indifference. Laughter creates psychological distance from your problem. It helps you separate and avoids you from feeling overwhelmed. Laughter increases creativity. For years, I worked on the creative team at Copper Pointe, and we really don't do that as much anymore. But what's interesting is when you're in a team like that and you're saying, okay, be creative, and you walk in and you say everything that went wrong with the service that we just had, it's really hard to be creative when you've just gotten on to everybody. But laughter and jokes and happy makes you want to feel creative. It makes you, it sets the tone, it lays the groundwork, makes the soil fertile, whatever you want to say. But laughter, it really spurs on creativity. If you have a team, if you work outside your home, you work in your home, it takes a lot of creativity to run a home. It takes a lot of creativity to run a family. So if you want to be creative, you need to learn to laugh. You're more likely to think of creative solutions when you've just been laughing. Things will come to you, better solutions. And another one is laughter fosters emotional connection. Laughing with others is powerful. I already feel better this morning. Just laughing with you for a few minutes, I already feel like a load. I come in, I'm tired. You too, you rush your kids out to school, or you get here, you're, hurrying as fast as you can. Don't you already just feel a little more relaxed because you've laughed? I mean, you've laughed at the baby, you've pictured me naked. I mean, there's just so many things that have already happened to cause you to laugh. Laughter draws people to you also. Laughter is attractive. A sense of humor is attractive. I can promise you it's more attractive than Dolesville, Deadsville, negativity. Laughter is attractive. And when you're laughing, people's defenses come down and it cuts through tension. Laughter, I have nervous laughed before. You get in a situation, you don't know what to do, but it does cut the tension. Laughter cuts tension. I think that's really a cool thing. And I hope you're getting all these down, but it's another thing about laughter. It's the best way to be an example of Christ. Laughter is a great way to be an example, because the joy of the Lord is our strength. And what better way to show someone who doesn't understand why you love the Lord so much, or why you're at the church all the time, or why in the world you take a day off work to be here, or be here on a Friday, because the joy of the Lord bubbles out. It's contagious. And what a great example of God for us to be able to laugh. Laughter helps you stay young. Did you know that? When you laugh, you increase a youth hormone in your body by 87%. 87%. Some of us need to be laughing 24/7. I'm saying. 87%. Laughter It increases a youth hormone. And I looked it up because I heard somebody say it, and I thought, that's not true. That's just a good sermon illustration somebody made up. And I researched it and found the exact statistic. Laughter increases youth hormone in your body 87%. It keeps you younger. You know, have you known somebody ever has been under a lot of pressure and stress, and they're kind of negative and maybe a little mean? Then you don't see them for a while, maybe a year or two. Then you see them again, and they look like they've aged 10 years. Because that's what negativity and being down and depressed do for you all the time, where the joy of the Lord coming through as laughter in our life can actually help us to stay younger and look younger. That and a lot of really good moisturizer. But yes, amen. Fear and anxiety and worry, they weaken our bodies. And I'm talking to myself. You know, if y'all were here last night, you heard me say, every day I almost want to laugh that God told me to teach on this. And when I say tell, it's like all arrows point to this, and I can't get away from laughter, so I know God's speaking to me. That's what I mean. It's like he didn't talk out loud, but I knew that that's what he wanted me to do. And it's funny to me. It's so ironic because I feel like so much of my joy was stripped this year. And you guys may know that I am learning to laugh again, and that's what I say. So I'm teaching myself through studying God's word how to react to a situation differently and look at it with, by prayer, like I mentioned last night, by prayer and a heart of gratitude and knowing that God's strength will prevail and thinking on good things. Those are the things that bring laughter to my life and give me joy. So fear and anxiety and worry absolutely weaken our bodies. I was also sick in 2013 and 2014 a lot. And surgery and sickness, I went through a lot. And it's interesting because I feel like my physical body was going through what my spiritual body and my emotional body was going through too. And so that's why it's so important. Anxiety, depression, fear, fatigue really takes a toll on you physically. That's why you fight it with everything in you. And we're going to learn in the workshops, all of them, exactly how to be able to do that, practical ways to be able to fight anxiety or timidness or fear, but it weakens our bodies. We actually have chemicals in our bodies that are designed to work in our favor, but they just sit there unused. Laughter and joy. Joy is a fruit of the Spirit. Laughter is a byproduct of that. But that joy actually releases the chemicals in our body to do what they were meant to do, which is to heal. Our bodies to heal. They're sitting there unused because we've lost our joy. They're sitting there unused because we give in to the feelings of depression and give in to the feelings of anxiety and give in to the feelings of tension. And it's not that they're not real, that they're not happening, but when when I know they're going to come, this is what I've learned. Anxiety, fear, and worry will come. It's letting it linger. That's the problem. It's going to come. It's going to hit you somewhere. And that's when you just have to push it away. It's letting it linger and take root. That's when it's harder. That's when it's hard because pulling something out, you all pull weeds in your yard, and if you just get the top of it, there's another one there, just like an hour later, it seems like. But you have to dig the root. And it's interesting to me that the roots of weeds are stronger than the roots of my flowers. My pretty plants, they barely have this little root. I'll pull them up, and the root of that weed, it's like, how far does this go? And I'm like yanking and pulling, and it's that deep, because that's what fear and anxiety and worry do. If you let them take root, it's going to be a lot harder to pull them out. And, there's a way to do that, but I'm saying it's a lot easier if you never let them take root. And I am proof positive of that. So, just some questions I had for you this morning is, do you find yourself in a place that maybe you've lost your joy, you're focused on problems or stress? Children laugh up to 300 times a day, and adults maybe 20 times a day. That's what happens to us when life happens. When years and life happen, we lose our joy and our laughter. A little child, they laugh about everything. They're excited. They're not intimidated or inhibited. Every day on purpose. This is what I wrote down, and I really want you to remember this. Every day on purpose, find a reason to laugh. It makes you smarter, younger, stronger, calmer. And if I was a great joke teller, I'd tell you a joke. This would be a great time for a good joke story, and I'm not a joke teller. I try, and I forget the punchline. Like, I rehearse them in my head. I'm like, okay, it's this, then it's this, then it's this. Bam. I get to bam, and I have no idea what the punchline is. And I say it, and the boys are like. So I don't have a good joke, but I do have a great Bible story. And so I want to tell you a story to kind of sum all this up, a great example of laughter and joy in the Bible. You all maybe have heard of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so Abraham, his second son was Isaac. He got a little carried away and hurried for God's promise and had Ishmael. But he had Isaac. God had promised Abraham that he'd be the father of many nations. And he also made the same promise to Isaac because he said, because of your father's faithfulness, you will be the father. You will have, descendants as many as the stars in the sky. So in Genesis chapter 26, there's a story where Isaac is married to Rebekah at that point, and he's been told that he's going to have all the, descendants innumerable, and, no way to count them all. And so but there's a famine in the land. So Isaac moves to Gerar, and he takes his wife with him. Well, he starts out and it's the land of the Philistines, and the king is Abimelech. Well, he goes into this town, and he tells them that Rebekah is his sister because he's afraid if they think it's his wife, they'll kill him so they can legally be with her because she was so beautiful. So he said it's his sister because he thought, well, then they don't think they can have her, and they'll leave him alone, and nobody will try to get her. Well, one night, King Abimelech, this is really irrelevant to the story, but I think it's so funny. One night, he sees them embracing and kissing, and he goes, hey, yeah, that's not your sister. He goes to Isaac and goes, that's got to be your wife. And he goes, yes, it's my wife. And so King Abimelech tells all the Philistines, is this his wife? But you cannot harm Isaac or Rebekah. You can't harm them, kill them, you can't touch them. So Isaac's in this land of the enemy, and his crops start to flourish. He puts plants the seed, he's planting. He sows 100 times more than he planted. He had more money than he knew what to do with. And at that point, he started getting really, really rich. Well, they liked him when he was poor, but then he got really rich. The Philistines didn't like him anymore, and they ran him out of town. Well, they ran him out of town. He had to leave, and he went to a valley outside of Gerar at that point. He went to the valley. Well, the valley had been kind of ravaged because of war, and when the Philistines had always been the enemy, and there had been wars, and in Abraham, his father's day, all the wells there had been clogged up with debris and rocks and dirt. The Philistines, that's how they got you. That's how the enemy basically started winning in a war, was they would fill up all the wells, because if you had no water, you couldn't survive. So all the wells in this valley of Gerar were filled up. There was no water. And I want to tell you just one really wonderful tidbit. Isaac's name means laughter. That's Isaac's, his name. His meaning is laughter. And what I love about this story, and I'm going to read it to you. It's in here, but it's from the Holy Bible. Genesis 26, 15 through 18. So the Philistines filled up all Isaac's wells with dirt. These were the wells that had been dug by the servants of his father Abraham. So this is where he's at. The wells had been dug by his father. Time, earth, the rocks, the enemy. This is so important. This is the most important thing I'm going to say all morning. The enemy filled up the wells. Finally, Abimelech told Isaac, you have to go somewhere else. You have to leave. You're too powerful for us. He went to the Gerar Valley. They set up tents and settled down. He reopened the wells that his father had dug, which the Philistines had filled in after Abraham's death. Isaac also restored the names that Abraham had given them. So listen, this is so good. This is really good. These wells were filled up after Abraham died, the ones he dug, by the enemy, with dirt, debris, and rocks. Isaac, laughter, redug the wells that had been clogged in that land that the enemy had clogged. This is so opened up my mind to think that laughter, which is just a byproduct of joy in our life, that's the key to reopen, redig the wells of joy that have been clogged up in your life by maybe depression, by maybe disappointment or stress or worry. Whatever has clogged up the well of joy, we know that we need to laugh and have joy. I just spent 30 minutes telling you why it's good for us. But isn't this amazing that laughter is what will loosen the debris so that you can redig the well of joy in your life? I absolutely love that. Isn't that amazing? I think if joy were so easy, everybody would have it. The reason the enemy doesn't want us to have joy is because then we're victorious. If our wells of joy are clogged up, then we are ineffective. You're ineffective as a woman, you're ineffective as a wife, you're ineffective as a mother, you're ineffective as an employee. If you don't have joy, no one around you is going to have it because we set that thermostat in our home. So if he can clog up our joy, which he has tried to do to me for about 1.5 years now, and absolutely, God gave a timely word for me, because if I teach it to you, then I'm accountable, right? But the way we get our joy back is to laugh again. And I'm going to read you some scriptures about joy. This is how we're going to leave this place this morning and go to our workshops. I want you to know what the Bible says about joy, because laughter is a byproduct of joy. I love it. Psalm 5:11. But let all those who put their trust in you rejoice. Let them ever shout for joy because you defend them. Let them also that love your name be joyful in you. Anybody in here need to redig the well of joy in your life? If I read one of these scriptures and that's you, and you feel like today that this scripture means something to you, and you know that you need to redig a well of joy in your life, that you have letting the cares of the world, depression, things get you down, circumstances, I'm just going to ask you to start standing to your feet, because I'm already standing. I'm the first one. So I just want you to know that. So I'm going to read it again. Psalm 5:11. But let all those that put their trust in you rejoice. Let them ever shout for joy because you defend them. Let them also that love your name be joyful in you. Is that anybody in here? Psalm 35. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 35:9. And my soul shall be joyful in the Lord. It shall rejoice in his salvation. Psalm 86:12. I will praise you, O Lord my God, with all my heart, and I will glorify your name forevermore. Anybody need to glorify the name of the Lord? Because that brings joy. Isaiah 61:3. To appoint to them that mourn in Zion, to give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. Isaiah 12:2. Behold, God is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid. For the Lord Jehovah is my strength and my song. He also has become my salvation. Therefore, with joy shall you draw water out of the wells of salvation. My challenge to you today is to let the joy of the Lord be your strength. Embrace a joyful lifestyle. And last verse, and you take this one and you go home and memorize it. Job 8:21-22 says, God will let you laugh again. I'm going to say it again. God will let you laugh again. You will raise the roof with shouts of joy. Let's do that.